Hello, my beautiful people. So this set was made over a year ago, maybe even 2. So again, I apologize for my terrible camera angle. At least you get to see my beautifully tattooed hand just all in the way of showing you how I'm actually icing this cookie. Let's start off by lining the deck of card cookie in a lining consistency icing in white. This will help keep the flood consistency in the cookie lining. I made this feather of 4 cards by using one rectangle cookie cutter and cutting the shapes for the other cards in the feather pattern, and making sure to put the parts together before baking. The good thing about the lining is that you can mess up here and it would be hidden by the flood consistency. So you don't have to be perfect at this stage. The set includes 2 other designs with a Vegas theme. It was so much fun to make. Can you guess what the other 2 designs might be? Now, using this needle-like tool, which I believe is called a scribe, to just keep the icing more even and uniform for the outside. Inside doesn't matter because, again, it will be hidden with the flood consistency when filling in the cookie. I usually do this for the parts where I connect the lining and it isn't connected on its own, or shaping the lining when it didn't lay the way I wanted it when piping. There goes my hand again, just hiding how I'm flooding in the cookie. But basically, I'm just starting with small squares from one corner of the cookie to the other. You get the idea of my hand moving in a zigzag pattern, but also in a square motion to fill in the small squares I'm creating to fill in the entire cookie. I'm twisting the top of the piping bag as I'm using the icing so the icing fills the tip better and comes out more evenly without any gaps of space. At the end, I decided to fill in as much as I could and use the scribe to thin out the pool and move it to fill in the gaps. Honestly, I don't have a technique or anything. I just do this in order to make sure it fills the cookie. Now, using a wet-on-wet technique so the design is flush in one layer, I'm using this black lining consistency icing to create the card outlines. I know, you can barely see, but you can see the outcome as my hand moves while creating the design. Now we're going to start on the second card outline. Going on to the third card, now you can see the cards in the fanned out design that was created for this set. Finally, we're down to the last card outline. Using the same lining consistency in black, we're going to block the designs that we're going to be placing down on the card design. And yes, we're still working fast on this wet-on-wet technique because we want to make sure the designs are flush on one layer. There we go. Now we can see what we did. Working on the last card so the designs are in black and red in the others. Using the red lining consistency icing to place the design for the other 2 cards in this pile. This time, we didn't even get the chance to see the design before moving on the card on the top designs. So we'll just have to wait to see what the design looks like. There we are! We decided on the C for the birthday gal's name, and since it was her 65th birthday, We of course went with the 6 and 5 out of the deck. I flipped the design on the other corner of the top card because that's how they are on the real deck of cards. I'm using a flood consistency to fill in the heart in the middle because the lining would take too long, and it's just to fill it in. After drawing the first layer, I put the name in edible marker off screen, and we'll use the lining consistency in black to line the name to stand out. Again, yes, my hand is in the way, please bear with me. I also did this so that the name would stand out against the background layer of the fan of cards. That way the name pops and gives it dimension. There, you get to see a gist of what I'm working on. Honestly, I don't even know why I thought this angle was good, but you live and learn. Also, I need to work on my icing consistency because piping out the lining was so hard, my hands started cramping in between. I think out of the entire cookie design, this portion was the hardest because of the lining. After finishing up the lining, we're going to fill in the areas that are thicker lines in the cursive. We're using the flood consistency icing to fill in those areas. Can anyone help on how to stop the concave of the icing once it dries? It always does it in these smaller flood areas, and I've tried the poking holes, the line in the middle, and other methods to stop, but so far nothing is doing its job to make it keep its shape. Anyway, thanks for watching!